this is the best thing to do. You want to set a mat here-ish, something that they need to jump to get to the bar, have them do a few swings, and try to jump back to the trapezoid. Oftentimes, when you're dealing with the 3-year-olds, you can't do this because they really can't jump and grab a bar yet. They're not capable. So then move it underneath. Just have them try to get on the bar and try to swing themselves. That's our first thing, is just getting some pendulum action going. Okay? Once we've got that, and the reason I want to start with this kind of jump and drop off drill is because then when we actually do, here, just hop up, don't worry about mechanics too much. Jump up, do about 4 swings, and then I want you to jump back and land on the blue mat.
Can I move you, Sarah?
So if we swing here, and we require that they drop off and land on the blue mat, that last swing, even if the 3 leading swings are all crappy, do some swings where you kind of lift your heels and whatever, right? Well, do crappy swings. So you're going to see this a lot, where they just kind of, you'll see that in the back, yeah. You'll see the back legs back, but then do the drop off. And you'll see it has to change. See how in order to get her feet down, she has to hollow, she has to bring her feet forward, she has to push on the bar a little bit. And so, if nothing else, at least on the very last swing, we're going to get a proper position in the backswing. And that's one of the hardest things to get kids to understand, is that they actually have to apply pressure on the bar and lift their hips and hollow a little bit. And then the next piece is looking for the hop. Because a lot, you're going to get the shifting both one hand at a time. Can you do that? Okay. You can get this a lot. Do both hands, but one at a time. Yeah, like that. So they're trying to like re-grab, but they're doing one hand at a time, and they'll wiggle around and stuff. Really enforce that they have to hop both hands at the same time. And you have to teach this at first. The little hand hop is something you have to instruct on. Every time you're in the backswing, hop both hands. And by hopping both hands, that's actually going to start encouraging a hollow backswing also. Because if you arch and leave your chest down and you try to hop, it's going to feel like you're going to come off the bar. And so they'll start to figure out intuitively to let their shoulders rise a little bit in the backswing in order to get that hop. Does that all make sense? Okay.
I see some kids though who like get here and they hop. Like it looks like they're coming off. They swing big, and then they hop and they're up here. And the only way they can hop is by getting their knees up way high. Yeah.
It's because they're already starting to rise that way.
Yeah,
they're already getting vertical rise, so they're not going off the bar that way.
Which is good. They understand the swing, but we gotta get that hollow. That's a Rennie Kalmbach.
It's
total natural swing.
Mia Trodella does that.
And then you're just gonna have to get on them about that. And so, do a few good tap swings. So what we're looking for, the few key things. Of course, we've got hollow, arch kick, extend. Now, this is a key piece. We got that. But then after the tap in the front, watch the shoulders. See how she pulls back on the bar? Press back.
Oh, Howie!
After the kick, you have to do that. While still looking at your toes, a lot of times I'll give them targets. Targets are key on swinging. I want them to know where they're looking. I want them to see stuff. I want them to kick their feet toward I always tell them the beam that the bucket is connected to, right? That's where you're aiming your toes at first. Later it's going to be higher, but really at first we're aiming up there.
So
they're getting that kick, then pressing the bar back.
It's hollow here, arch here.
Arch to the bottom.
Kick.
And then extend.
And that kick is when they're in a hollow.
The
kick is from the arch. Hollow,
So
arch,
here.
boom.
So you do end in a hollow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hollow and rise. Can you do a swing where you don't do the pullback?
I could try.
And you'll see what happens. If they don't if they don't press the bar back after the swing, you'll see it completely kills the swing.
Never really thought about that.
You've been doing it too long. So you go hollow, arch, you kick and turn over. Oh, less. Kick toes up.
Oh, kick toes up.
Hike your shoulders. Like that. Yes. That happens a lot. You see that? It kind of goes, give this, right? And it's hard to do because you're used to generating swing. You're used to pushing on the bar to get your swing. But you'll see a lot of kids where they get a good hollow, a good arch, they kick really well, and then they do nothing else, and they rise, and then drop. And then they don't understand. They're like, where'd all my swing go?
Yeah.
Well, that way. All your swing went into the floor. And so getting that kick and extend, and sometimes if they're not understanding the shoulder push, you do a few more. Tearing up your hand here, especially I'll do this. I say, after your tap, touch my hand. So hollow arch, kick my hand. So they have to kick and then extend. She's tall, so I'd have to go like way out. Reach, right? And by forcing them to try to get their toes more toward that wall, they're gonna have to do that, and they'll feel it. And then you gotta watch if you have a natural swinger that they don't peel off.
I was just gonna mention that.
That's the one thing. Once they get that first swing to horizontal in the front, there's decent odds that they're gonna peel off in the back. My level 2s, I mean, 1 in 5 of them will peel off the bar in that stage of learning tap swings.
Now,
and you do have to be ready for that.
what's your recommendation for spotting? If you're out there holding your hand out, you can't be.
Can't spot it. And I watch their hands, and it depends on the amplitude of their swing. If they're getting near that point, I don't need to be there anymore anyway.
I was gonna say, and that's where you have a hand around the wrist, maybe.
I'm constantly watching there, and then I'll stand back here. What you do, you watch hands. Go to this bar. So generally they can swing on a bar low enough that you'll be able to stand, and at most it's gonna be this high, right? Okay. And so I'll be here watching their hand, so simulate a swing. So let's say she goes, wait, put your feet down in the front. Let's say she goes, wait for it, let's slide out. So if she gets to here, I can see the fingertips. Then as she swings back, go ahead and walk it back, I'll just grab her wrist, because then she's gonna ping off, right? And then this ensures that her feet are gonna be the first thing to hit the ground. Might not be pretty. They're gonna go blah, and they're gonna land, and they're gonna giggle and laugh because it felt freaky. But
What size? What age group is this? Are you talking about?
6
I feel
and
like
up.
wouldn't that like dislocate a
Not
shoulder?
at all.
No.
If they're swinging, you're not putting any more pressure on they can swing by one arm easy.
Yeah, but if they peel off and you grab right here,
It's
and
not
they,
a jerk. It's pretty gradual. Cause
It can be gradual. It can be both ways, Raj. I've had kids peel off and you're unexpected and you catch and yank.
Oh, see, I go with them though, because
Okay.
they'll peel off, and I'll go ahead. I'll actually move with them a little bit. That's kind of intuitive. I don't think about that. That's probably because I've been spotting.
so
a
would it
very
be
long
bad
time.
to just catch them?
No, not at all. But the thing is, in order to catch them, you'd actually have to be here, because they're gonna rock it that way.
Oh, okay.
If you're here and they peel and you aren't grabbing them already, there is not a prayer of you catching them.
Yeah.
They'll be on the floor and you're gonna be like, oops. But an appeal at this stage isn't the worst thing as long as everything's well matted. You don't want them peeling onto this. That would be bad.
Yeah.
Peeling onto that from a bar this height, okay, they're not gonna get injured. It's not something we want the parents seeing because they'll freak out.
Right.
But the kid's not gonna get hurt doing that. Though they might get scared of bars, and that's one thing we want to watch too, right? They peel off, they're gonna be all tentative about their swings now, and then we have to overcome that. So we don't
Is it more common for them to peel off on the back of the swing? Or
always in the back unless they're doing front giants, but that's you're not even
Okay.
gonna have to worry about that for a long time.
You also can see kids. One thing to be aware of too, when a kid starts slipping, if they don't peel off in the back, and they don't re-grab,
Yeah.
they're gonna try to let go in the front. And you can't have kids that try to bail
Yeah.
and jump off.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Watching the hands is a good cue as to how what their grip's gonna look like.
Yeah.
But while they're learning, any kid that's actually generating swing, I'd probably get a habit to just putting a hand on a wrist and following them.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
a good
if you're
overall.
Not sure of the kid.
Yeah.
And always teach them to jump off in the backswing. Always, 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 always jump off in the backswing. Because kids will jump off in the front swing, and if they suddenly get good technique on their swings, and then they try to do that, they're going to land on their back and possibly reach back and then destroy their arms. So always jump off in the backswing, jumping off in the front. And I always tell them, if you're going to jump off in the front swing, it's got to be accompanied with a flip. When you're ready to do that, then you can jump off on the front swing whenever you want. And then they're like, what do you mean? Well, that's a flyaway. Oh my gosh, and then they kind of get it. So that's just kind of where I go with that, okay? So again, regular practice on the tap swings, that swing dismount, and then you can use that as another opportunity to work on stick position. This is something that in general we want them doing all the time whenever they're jumping off something. Because not only is it going to get them so that when they're competing, they're masters at sticking, but if they're so used to any time they're flying through there and landing, going like this, we will prevent future hyperextended knees. Because, right, that's there, never this. And if we're constantly reinforcing that partial squat on the landings, every time, never allow for straight leg landings, then later on when they're 14, they're just so habituated to going to that guarded landing position that we don't have to worry about nastiness later.
See, I thought I was well conditioned, and I